If you look at these words, again, it's very easy for you to identify because this word is constructed by two words. These words and these words. Okay, this one, Chinese, that means air. This one means rice. Later Chinese realize, they say, wow, the energy circuit in the body, main thing come from the air, actually oxygen, and the rice. Without the oxygen, without rice, we don't have a qi. It's very simple. But now people say, how can we interpret from scientific terms? Even we know, logical, we know we need the air, we need the rice. That's why I believe it got to have a Western interpretation about this whole process. That's why I go back to look at the book. Then I find a formula. In the West, you talk about the same thing, remember. Chinese Qigong and the West, there's no difference. People always say they are different. No, there's no difference. One from scientific approach, the one from experience approach. Experience approach comes from thousands of years of accumulation of experience. The other ones come from scientific approach. That one you can approach in a couple hundred years because from scientific understanding. One is the theory, the other one is actions. But if these two really is the Tao of the nature, it should be able to what? Match each other perfectly. See, I believe that's my job because my background is a scientific background. I got my master's degree, bachelor degree in physics. I got mechanical engineering for my PhD. All my background is a scientific background. So because of the reason I try to use a scientific way to interpret Chinese ancient past, especially for Qigong. It's amazing to me for the last 20 years. It can match so perfectly. See? Now try to look and see how this happened. It's very easy for you to understand this one after I put this formula to you. Okay. This formula you can find from biophysics books or bioenergy book, a lot of biochemistry book. Glucose process 6 oxygen. After chemical reaction, it generates 6 waters and 6 carbon dioxide. At the same time, it's important, it releases 686 kilocalories. Now you can see now. Does it make sense to you now? From here, you take a look. When the 686 kilocalories, that's the energy content. This energy content, they manifest it. When they manifest, they can manifest either heat or light, or the other one. Today, scientists already know what Chinese call qi is a bioelectricity. All right, so this is bioelectricity. From this bioelectricity, they can convert many ways when they manifest it. Okay, so this one is a qi. Now from here, what you see now? Air, oxygen, rice, glucose. This is a qi. So from here you can see what you eat. What you eat. The air you input is all the elements of producing the energy, the qi in the body. Okay, let's talk about oxygen first. You look at body structure. The body structure, 96% of body structure constructed by oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, and carbon. 96%. That means the oxygen exists everywhere. In every cell, you need it all the time. If you look at the body, which place consumes most of your oxygen? I'm not talking about in the structure wise, I'm kind of consuming wise. Of course, when you exercise, you consume oxygen. Every time you tense up your muscle, you burn it. But at the same time, which place of the body consumes most of the oxygen? Right away, I believe a lot of you always think about the brain. It is true, it's the brain. According to scientific report, this is not from Chinese, from scientific report, every brain cell consumes 12 times or more of oxygen. Depends. If your brain in the relaxed states, it can be lower. In the brains, in the excited state, this one can be higher. Oxygen consumption can be higher. It's not 2 times, it's not 3 times, it's 12 times. All right, now, people say, how can it be? I just want you to take a look logically. You look at the brain, the head, there are 2 arteries here on each side. Behind it, there's another 2 smaller arteries. There are 4 arteries go to your brain. Look how small my brain is, my head is. You look at my leg, this leg, how big the leg is. You look at anatomy book. There's 1 artery, the head actually there are 4 arteries. Why? Why there's 4 arteries go to the brain, but there only 1 artery go to the leg? Think about my leg is so big, my head is so small. That's because you need a lot of blood to bring the oxygen to the brain. The brain consumes so much of the qi, so much of nutrition, and so much of oxygen. So it's very important for you to understand that. So that means the breathing, how you breathe becomes a very important part because it affects your brain function. For example, in this room, if there's not enough oxygen, the first thing is your brain. You get trouble. If you dizziness, then eventually you pass out before any kind of physical pain generated. So it's very important for you to understand oxygen is required. But remember, this oxygen is talking about air. Chinese talk about air, it's called 空气. I write Chinese because some of the Westerners now start understanding Chinese. 空气, remember qi is the same as this qi. 空, that means space. Space qi, that means the energy of the space. Okay, now people say, okay, in this case, what's the meaning of a qi? Of course, this qi we talk about is the energy circuit in the body. But what's the original qi mean in Chinese terminology? Okay. 空气 is a space qi. 冷气, I just give you a few examples. 冷气 doesn't mean cold qi. That's air conditioning. The cold qi comes from air conditioning. Okay, 热气, this comes from heat. 死气, that means people's dead. The qi of the death. You can see the qi has been attached to something else. So when you look at this one, what the qi means, the qi means energy. Okay. Not only that, you talk about qi. 是. 是 is a situation. The situation of the qi. That means what? The condition of the feeling at that environment, at that time. For example, if there are 2 armies, they are fighting. One army, they have high morale. And everybody have a high killing mood. That's what we call qi shi. That means their qi status is higher. See, the Chinese use the qi for everywhere. Because now, when you take a look, you can see this qi actually like a universal energy. That's why you understand Chinese Qigong. Chinese Qigong is not restricted only to human body. You talk about the astronomy. Yeah? Talk about medical science. Talk about everything. The nature. Any kind of energy related to humans or related to existing in this universe, Chinese called Qi. Yeah. Of course, this Qi also includes some of the energy cannot be interpreted yet by the science. For example, gravity. How science interpret gravity, they still unknown. They still don't know that yet. But Chinese also qi, because gravity is considered qi of the earth. Okay. So from here you can see, from this formula you can see, 空气 is air and this internal energy circulation. But don't confuse this one and this one is not the same thing. This is electricity, this is air. But remember, they are related. These proportional to each other. So that's why a lot of times people say, oh, Qigong is talking about the way of breathing. It is true. Some people say, no, Qigong is talking about the internal energy circulation. It is also true. Because eventually they're talking about the same thing with a different concept, but talk about the same thing. You should understand this concept. So later when we talk about Qigong, it will be easier for you to understand this whole concept. Okay. So from here you can see, very easy for you to recognize what is really Qi. But now the scientists, the Western scientists, is start understand now. What people, Chinese people talk about Qi circulating in the body, actually is bioelectricity. Some people say, no, I don't want to call it bioelectricity. It's called bioenergy. That's true too, because bioelectricity, that's very specific. How about biomagnetism? Because it's also inside, it's also Qi. Because inside the body, it's not just electricity. You should know that. Because when there's a magnetic field, then there's an electric field. If there's an electric, there's a magnetic field. So you cannot put it specifically for that. So because the reason Chinese say, okay, bioenergy. But when you go bioenergy, again, you confuse with the heat, with the light. Because this is also bioenergy as well. So that means it's very, very hard to define what is really the Qi. If we talk about Qi is about electricity, then tell me, it is AC or DC. That's what become very complicated. It's not as easy as people think. But when I put the bioelectricity, because it's easier for me to interpret many, many phenomena. It's not because I prefer bioelectricity. Because you look at a lot of books existing today, you realize body electric conductivity continuous change. For example, muscles. Muscle electric conductivity, when I'm relaxed, electric conductivity is higher. When I tense up, electric conductivity becomes lower. They become more resistant. Not only that, the fascia, the ligaments, the tendons, all those things, they change from one property to the next property, depends your thinking, depends your body's condition. So because the reason the entire body is alive, you have to recognize that. It's not like dead in the electric circuit, it's dead, you can interpret that. You can't. It's AC or DC. If I move my arm forward, the electricity goes that way. When I move my arm backward, the electricity goes this way. Now, all the AC, DC depends on my mind thinking. So because the reason, a lot of people try to argue with me, I say, you can't question, we still don't know. Yeah. So all this kind of measurement will take humans a lot of time in the future to measure it. But I'm very happy to see so far already been existing, a lot of measurement existing, and a lot of data. So those people, if you are interested to read, I highly recommend a couple books here first. Try to read about it. This one is the first one I highly recommend to read about it, because inside talk about how the electricity circulates in the body, what is the body electric properties. The second book I highly recommend is called Energy Medicine. You'll be surprised when you look at that, they connect with Chinese Qigong or Chinese Qi. Inside, they all have a scientific interpretation. But remember, this is by the Western scholars. So when we mention about this formula, glucose plus 6 oxygen and become 6 water and 6 carbon dioxide. At the same time, you can see this one produces heat, light, bioelectricity, and many others. It's not just like this. Many others so far cannot be interpreted yet by the scientists. All right, so from here, the last point before we go to what is Qigong, I want to point out one more thing. It's very important for a lot of people. They start Qigong and they get confused easily. The first thing try to understand, when the Western society, you define upper body, lower body, where you define. Without thinking, you say, okay, it's from the waist area. Because waist area, there's where the center of gravity is. So from this area, you bend, you bow. So you say, okay, this is lower body, this is upper body. That's from physical point of view. But you should understand, Chinese, they don't use here. Chinese talk about upper body, lower body. Actually, it's not from here, from the diaphragm. So from here you can try to see, understand this concept, because Chinese call this part called 上层qi. So called upper level qi. Okay. Okay, remember, I'm also studying, I'm also researching all the time. And I try to understand more and more. So every year I got new information and find a new way to interpret the ancient practice. This one, Chinese ancient I call 上层 qi, called upper level qi. The energy circle inside the body, they call lower level qi, called 下层 qi. How they define? So all these defined come from, okay, this is my Picasso drawing. That's means you have to put the imagination. This is the body, so you can see here is a diaphragm. Chinese define the upper body, lower body by diaphragm. When we go to the lesson 2, you're going to see more about this concept from the Chinese energy point of view, about to interpret what's the 12 channels about energy network in the body. But now, first thing I want to interpret this one because it's so important for you to understand. Remember the body, inside the body, the structure. Body have a fascia, body have a muscles, body have a bones, ligaments, tendons. Every one of them have a different specific amount of qi levels, and also conductivities. All right, diaphragm, you know diaphragm is over here. Diaphragm is where you're pulling down, the oxygen come in. When the diaphragm relax, the carbon dioxide going out. But diaphragm, because diaphragm all the time you're breathing, so that means diaphragm all the time exercising. When diaphragm exercising all the time, that means electric conductivity is very high. All right, so this is a good conductor. If it is a good conductor, you will cut it open from the picture, from the anatomy structure. Okay, let me show you a slide. So when you look at the anatomy structure, you can see this is a diaphragm. On the top is supposed to be the lung, is the heart. Okay, from here you can see, on the top you can see it's covered by fascia. All right, take a look clearly. So from here you can see this diaphragm separate the body to the top and the bottom. We talk about central body. So from here you can see, actually on the top here, it's covered by fascia. On the bottom, covered by fascia. Diaphragm. So fascia, according to what we know from bioelectricity, the book, this is a poor conductor. Diaphragm is good conductor. All right, the first one you have to recognize one thing. Fascia play a very important role in the body structure because this is a poor conductor. If you don't know what is a fascia, very easy. Go to find a piece of chicken, take the skin off. Between the skin and the meat, you can see there's a thin membrane. It's called fascia. This fascia amazingly change properties, electric properties. But generally speaking, usually is a conductivity is poor. All right, you look at the arms, right? My arms. My arms have a different set of muscles, different. When I extend my arm forward and pull my arm backwards, move to this side, move to this side, it's different muscles. Because different muscle contraction allow me to go here, allow me to go here, go different directions. So that means the arms, it constructed many, many sets of muscles. But remember, all the muscles have a different what? Function. For example, this one is stronger, this one is not as strong, this is stronger. So that means a different power manifestations. So that means different muscles have a different energy level, energy qi levels. But how do you maintain them? If they contact each other, you can't. Because the reason that's why they need insulator between them. To isolate them from parts, from different parts, so they have a different function. So fascia, it be acting like insulator in the body. You should understand this concept. So between the organs of fascia is everywhere. But fascia is poor conductor, so whenever there's a poor conductor, that means conductivity is poorer, that means circulation is poorer, stagnant. But the result of that is a deposit the fat. So whenever you can see the fascia area, usually the fat accumulated. Okay. Now from here you can see what you see now. It's a good conductor. Have been sandwiched by poor conductor. That means the energy can be stored in the diaphragm. So this place is isolate. Remember, diaphragm isolate body from top and body from energy point of view. Okay, on the top you can see the heart, the lung, and pericardium. On the bottom you have liver and kidney or other things. Chinese talk about this air from, okay, this is the head. The air come from here, go to the lung. This is called upper level qi. Remember, the air cannot go underneath the diaphragm. The only way to get through underneath the diaphragm is through the bloodstream. The blood is taking the oxygen and they distribute to the body. If this oxygen go to the stomach area, you already feel sickened. I remember when you have a baby, your baby feed the baby for milk. What's the function? What's the action you have to do after feeding? You can birth the baby until baby, then you say, okay, it's okay. Because the air, you have to get rid of it. Otherwise, the baby's going to cry. Okay. Now, you know, this air coming out, this air going down. The body inside the air cannot stay there too much. Cause problem. So this air, remember, this is oxygen. Doesn't go down. Only through the bloodstream. All right. So when this bloodstream, through these biochemical reactions, because this oxygen comes from bloodstream. Because you absorb it to the bloodstream and talk it down here, and with the glucose cause biochemical reactions. Now you produce energy. That's body's metabolism. Okay, from here you can see this place, Chinese call middle dantian. Because it traps the energy. You store the energy, you accumulate energy. Chinese say this middle dantian related to the post-birth essence. What means the post-birth essence? That means after your birth. Because after your birth, you start taking the food from the mouth, getting the oxygen from the nose. That's eventually glucose and oxygen. That's called post-birth essence. So whenever you inhale the air, the poor quality air, you can feel heartburn. Whenever you eat the spicy food, you can feel heartburn. So whenever this one, that means the middle dantian on fire. Whenever middle dantian on fire, the heartbeat going faster, the breathing go faster. So the middle dantian on fire is bad for the heart. It's very important for you to understand this concept. This is middle dantian. So Chinese realize this area is where the energy accumulated. Some people say, oh, middle dantian is not, this one is heart. Well, they talk about same thing. Remember, when the energy accumulates here, the heart beat faster. But the other saying say, oh, middle dantian is a sanzong. Sanzong is this area. But look at this area. What this area? This area is a thymus gland, remember. A few years ago, scientists confirmed the thymus gland, the hormone production here, related to what we call emotion. When you get depressed, when you get upset, this place feels tightened. Then the hormone production becomes abnormal. But that's why no wonder a lot of people they think about here, because this Chinese called middle dantian related to emotional mind. So eventually, when this one energy accumulated, affect your heart function, affect your thymus gland. So that's why a lot of people they say it's here and it's heart. No, because they don't accumulate energy. They manifest the energy accumulated from the diaphragm. So from my analysis, I realized the middle dantian is more accurate talk about diaphragm instead of the other two places. They are related. Okay. So from here, the divided body is called upper level qi. But when this qi going down to the bottom, it becomes lower level qi. So this qi is by electricity. This qi is the air. So don't get confused. Actually, they talk about the same thing because these two proportional to each other. Okay. So far, that's all you need to understand. You want to understand more, we're going to talk about that in the second lessons, about the body's qi network. All right. Once you understand what is the qi, then now let's try to see what is the Qigong then. Okay, because this is the first lesson. The first most important thing is for you to understand the concept what's the qi and the Qigong. The first one, try to understand what does the gong mean. The gong divided by two words, that's a force. This work. So this force a lot of times interpret as effort. You put a lot of effort to work to make something happen. So this one, Gong, that means the way you study, the way you research, the way you practice. So because the reason Qigong is very scientific, a lot of people say Qigong is mystery. No. From the terminology itself, it means the study or research of the Qi. That's called Qigong. Yeah. But today people say, oh, Qigong is something mysterious. No, it is not. It's because some people make it happen like mysterious things. Yeah, because a lot of people like to be fooled, a lot of people like to fool. So keep your mind clear, because today people are educated. Everything, can you make logical sense?